All right, welcome to this episode of Frozen Takes. Before we get into anything, guys, I've been thinking about this all week. Growing up watching sports, especially NFL football, the theme song always stuck out to me, and it was always something that always played in my head. For me, there is no NFL theme song for any network better than Fox Sports. If you know, as a kid growing up in the 90s, you heard that da 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 bum da 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 bum bum. Then you have the guitar going on. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. But every time I hear that theme song music, I always think of the Southwest Airlines commercials because it always played. Always played.
I thought the first thing that popped into your head whenever you heard this song connected to the NFL, I thought the song was going to be Tiny Dancer.
No. Yeah. No. The only NFL theme song that even comes close, and for me it's a toss up, but it's Sunday Night Football for me.
Yeah,
it's Football Night in America. That epic dun dun da 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 dun 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 da da dun. It just makes every game just feel so important. Every play critical. It just gets that heartbeat going, that anticipation going. I swear to God, like this whole week, I've been thinking about NFL theme songs and theme music.
Looking forward to this podcast this week has made me feel the same. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
I agree.
I'm ready to rub in some things. I'm ready to chat about some things.
Which I'm pretty sure you were right here, Fred, about your Yankees. Didn't they take the division just like you said?
I mean, a lot of people look at me and think, yeah, that guy doesn't have it all together. And I'm with you. But when it comes to predictions, as crazy as it might seem, there's always a little something in the background that I'm not letting you guys know about as to why I'm picking that stuff. The variables that I think about whenever I make those predictions are definitely falling into place with the Yankees right now. So I'm super stoked.
Well, we will definitely touch on the MLB, and as I like to call it, it is on. The race to Red October. It is on. There are still some seeding things and teams that got to get shaken out in the MLB. We will touch on the hunt to Red October. But first, let's talk about the thing that I touched on earlier, the NFL. Guys, week 3 in the NFL had some things that I haven't seen ever. Like literally ever in the NFL.
2 block field goals to win a game?
2 block field goals to win a game, and we will touch on that. But let me just remind anyone, if you don't know this fun little factoid about the NFL, because I looked it up because I was like, has that ever happened in the NFL? It has. The last time there were 2 blocked field goals in the same game was exactly, and I kid you not, exactly 50 years to the date. And the last team that did it, the same team that did it on Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sorry, Fred.
Against the Giants?
Against your G-Men. So as soon as I saw that little factoid, I was like, I got to bring that up. I got to bring it up. But guys, not only that, there was some. I mean, this game wasn't the only. I mean, the Eagles and Rams game wasn't the only game with blocked field goals. The Browns blocked a field goal. The Jets blocked a field goal.
We don't need to talk about the Browns-Packers game. We can skip over that one.
Well, it's not in my top 3 games, but if you want to talk about it, Ray, we sure can.
I will say, blocked or successful, field goals were absolutely essential this week.
Yeah, they really were.
Yeah, special teams really kind of came out into the forefront in week 3 in the NFL. For me, another thing that I noticed, and it's almost like the opposite of the tush push, is the Rams' utilization and kind of the finagling of the rules, playing on the fringes and the margins of the rules with how they kick off. Their weird squib kickoffs just flummoxed the Eagles, and I would not be surprised if more teams do it, and or come next year's owners meeting, there's not a discussion about maybe banning that type of play.
I don't see them banning it. I get the whole thing with the tush push and how people are against that. My biggest problem with the tush push personally is if you're not allowing the defense to bunch up on the line, why are you allowing the offense to do it? If you're going to allow it one way, you should allow it both ways. That's my only issue with the tush push. If they'd let the defense crowd the line and push people around like they used to, the old style football when you could hit people, I'd be all for it. I wouldn't care. But that's just my 2 cents on that topic right there. So,
Fred, what's your take on the Rams kind of playing on the margins of the rules with that whole squib kickoff?
I am all about creativity. Okay. Well, my joy of playing within the rules and pushing things to the limit was pretty much my entire college career. So when you consider that they didn't break any rules, they did something that was unexpected, and they got in the head of the Eagles. The last time we were together, we talked about the head game and how Spitgate created that. Now, yet again, we have another situation where a team decides, let's try it. What's the worst thing that could happen? It's just a normal kickoff. But no, it did throw the Eagles off, and that makes a difference. So I think any little advantage in a game where you touch somebody with a feather and you get a flag, any little advantage that you can get to throw somebody off or to gain some kind of advantage. Yes, while I agree it will eventually be talked about and probably banned, but while it's not, I think that freedom should be exercised and more teams should figure out creative ways to work within the rules, but to just throw the opposing team off.
And what's interesting about it is that this game in particular, the Rams versus the Eagles, and we'll touch on both teams in my top 3 games that I'm looking at for week 4. But between these two teams, especially in the first half, but really honestly kind of through the game throughout, in the first half alone, the Eagles' starting field position was at their own 19-yard line. The Rams started at their own 35 or better. Right. I mean, that's huge in the NFL. I mean, in football in general, but it's huge in the NFL. If you have that kind of disparity of field position, it makes it easier on your own defense if you're the one that's forcing your opponent to start deeper in their own territory versus you having only half of a field to go. Really, the Rams gave this game away. They gave the game away.
That was a trend for a lot of teams this weekend, I think, is it just
no. I don't know what you
couldn't hang on to what they had.
Well, we will touch on a few games from week 3. But one thing that I want to touch on right now are my top 3 games that I am looking at and wanting to focus on in week 4. Ray, you will be proud of me. I actually did my homework this time. I have stats. I have stats on stats on stats. So,
I don't. I'm not prepared tonight, so you got me on this one.
All right. So I have 3 games that I'm going to be looking at. Those 3 games are the Eagles versus the Buccaneers, battle of 2 unbeatens. I'm then going to be paying attention to the Ravens versus Chiefs, 2 teams that are 1-2. And then my kind of wild card, the Rams versus the Colts, is the 3rd game that I'm going to be watching. Guys, let's start from the top. A battle of the unbeatens, the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. Both teams are coming into this game at 3-0. Last week, Jalen Hurts in week 3 really didn't do much in the first half, but kind of came alive in the second. Finished the day off with 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 117.4, one of the best of his career. Baker Mayfield last week passed for 233 yards, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 101.7. The Buccaneers were only 1 for 4 in the red zone, while the Eagles were 3 for 3. A lot of that can be credited to the tush push, but be that as it may. The Eagles, again, as we previously mentioned, blocked 2 kicks to kind of steal the game away and win this one last week against the Rams. And again, this was the first time in NFL history that this happened in a game for 50 years. And the Eagles did it last time back in 1975 against Fred's New York Giants. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a kick of their own blocked by the Jets, but the Buccaneers came back. Baker Mayfield went on a game-winning drive and was able to set up a game-winning field goal, and the Buccaneers were able to win. Now, some notable injuries here. Mike Evans, he has a hamstring injury. As of right now, he is being ruled out. That is a huge loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and for Baker Mayfield, putting a lot of pressure on their other wide receivers. Chris Godwin right now is questionable. We'll see if he's a go. If he's not, that is a huge loss. If you don't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you're putting a lot of pressure on your number 3 and number 4 receivers. Their offensive line is also banged up. Charlie Heck and Tristan Wirfs, they're both tackles. They're questionable. Going over to the Eagles, the position that has been a question mark for the first 3, now 4 games of the year is seeing some depletion. Adoree Jackson and Jacorian Bennett, both cornerbacks, they are questionable for Philadelphia. Guys, this is a huge matchup. And before we get to my keys of the game, what do you guys think going into this matchup, and what do you kind of see playing out?
Do you want to take the lead, Fred, or do you want me to?
Sure, I can take the lead.
Okay.
I think the wide receiver issue with the Bucs is going to be kind of the telling point. I think that if the rumors are true, and if Chris Godwin does end up making his season debut, then I think there's some hope. But without having the passing game in play, I don't think they're going to be able to have that edge and beat out the Eagles. I think there's too many predictable plays if 90% of your game is on the ground. So given the fact that the Eagles have been strong, I think there's a edge there for the Eagles this week. You know, even with it being his debut, is he going to actually produce? Is he going to be able to fit the routes correctly? Is his timing going to be on? You know, you never really know. So I think as long as everyone that's set for the Eagles ends up playing, I think the Eagles will have that win.
I think it's going to come down to that game, which whoever has the ball last. Baker Mayfield this season has had this fourth quarter magic where he can just march it right down the field with a minute so left, 30 seconds left, and make sure he gets the points on the board that he needs. Same with Philly. They've closed out every game strong this year. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they've won every single game they've played this year, too. I think ultimately it's going to come down to the last play, whoever has the ball last. Because even with Mike Evans being out, Tampa Bay has plenty of depth at receiver. So I think it's just literally going to come down to, does Jalen Hurts get the ball or does Baker Mayfield get the ball? It's a coin flip of a game for me personally. I don't really know who I have picked for that one yet.
Interesting takes. For me, I have 3 keys to the game. And Fred, you mentioned the rushing attack. I have an interesting statistic that I'd like to get your opinion on. For me, the first key to the game is the Tampa Bay rushing offense versus the Eagles' run defense. Philadelphia allowed 160 rushing yards to running backs last week against the Rams at 5.2 yards per carry. Massive. That's been one of the worst kind of games that the Eagles have had against the run in quite a while. Now, Tampa Bay did put up 122 rushing yards. However, they only put up 3.6 yards per carry, and running backs only had 78 yards of that. Baker Mayfield ended up having 44 yards. So this rushing game for Tampa is looking kind of anemic, and they got to get some rushing yards from a lot of different guys. I think this is going to be a key to the game. If the Eagles can stifle the Tampa Bay running attack and contain Baker Mayfield, they got a shot. Oh, Fred, we can't hear you here, buddy.
Sorry about that. I think Ray made a very good point. The prediction markets have those teams pretty much even, and to be honest, the way the running game stats that you just said, it's not so much that their running game is dominant or their passing game is dominant. It's a matter of having those options. And I think the ability to switch back and forth makes them a threat. Where if they don't have the option to pass, if within that first quarter they're not able to produce anything passing because they're on their third and fourth receiver and nothing can be really done, then the Eagles can just read the running plays and, strength be damned, you get, if you know the play that's coming, you can kind of prepare for that. So I think
But didn't Tampa just re-sign that guy I forget what his name is, bear with me. He's like 450 pounds. They cut him at the beginning of the season, and now all of a sudden they re-signed him going against the Eagles.
Desmond Watson, the guy that they drafted in the 6th and 7th round, they cut him, brought him back, put him on the practice squad. They did sign him to the active roster. They're calling him the tush push killer. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So my second key to the game, and we already touched on it a lot in the intro here, guys, special teams. The Eagles, again, blocked 2 field goals to win the game against the Rams, while Tampa Bay allowed a blocked kick. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, granted, I'm an Eagles fan, but I like to study the game. The Eagles on both of those blocked kicks lined up Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, both of them right in the A gap on both kicks. I'm sorry, the guard can't block both of them. You got to choose. And that's what led to, in my opinion, to both kicks. Guys, special teams is going to be huge. Blocking is going to be big, but also placement for the Eagles of where they put Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. That's going to matter on really any kind of field goal or point after attempt.
I think Ray has an objection.
No, doing the live reaction of the game I'm watching, Kyler Murray almost threw his 3rd interception of the game here. I'm pretty disappointed with what I'm seeing from the Cardinals right now.
Wait a minute.
It's currently 14-3 Seattle, getting ready to go into halftime.
Weren't the Cardinals a lock, Ray?
I'm currently eating my words right now. I have nothing to say for that right now. They are very much disappointing me.
Cheers to that.
back to the key to the second key to the game, special teams and especially blocking. Guys, if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you see Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, both of them lining up in the A gap, you got to be thinking, holy crap, what am I going to do to block this and prevent my kick from being blocked? I really don't know what Tampa Bay is going to do here. I think the Eagles kind of cracked the code on how to put pressure on a kicker and give themselves at least a fighting chance to block some kicks.
Yeah, I think what they really need to do is start practicing the great film reference here. Hopefully you guys know it. The Wanted style kicking of field goals. Anyone know that one? Angelina Jolie, where you fire the gun and you make the bullet turn a corner.
Okay.
So what they need to do is be able to set up toward the sideline and have it hook all the way around in between the goalposts. And then, there is no blocking that. Unless a fan throws a shoe or something, you're not going to block it.
Well, the way the sports have been going, it won't be a shoe; it'll be something green.
And it'll make some kind of record of something. This year has been crazy with record setting for the most obnoxious, weird, off the wall things. So I it would not be surprising if that were to happen.
Yeah, so I do think that in this game, special teams is going to be a key to the game for both teams. How they kick Tampa Bay, I think they are paying attention to kickoffs. That's going to be interesting to see if they kind of steal some things from the Rams. And then again, how are they going to block against Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the A gap on field goals? Key to the game number 3, the Tampa Bay defense against the Eagles offensive line. Tampa Bay, let me make sure I got this. Yes, Tampa Bay had 6.5 sacks last week, while the Eagles allowed 4. Granted, Lane Johnson at right tackle was out for the majority of the game. They put in Brett Toth. Brett Toth did not play well. They replaced him with Fred Jackson in the second half and saw a lot better production. But guys, 4 sacks for the Philadelphia Eagles allowed. You don't see that very often. Tampa Bay, they are known under Todd Bowles to blitz. And in Jalen Hurts' first few seasons, he did not do well against the blitz. Now, lately in the last season and a half, his passer rating has actually gone up against the blitz. But Todd Bowles seems to kind of have Jalen Hurts' number when it comes to the blitz.
I think Jalen Hurts is going to be fine. I saw what he did. Granted, this was against Dallas, and we've seen what Dallas has been doing this season. But whenever Dallas tried to put pressure on him, he still managed to scramble around, do what he had to do. In fact, if you remember correctly, I even gave Jalen Hurts his flowers, if you do, in week 1 and said the team revolved around Hurts and not Barkley. I don't think the pressure is going to do a whole lot to Philadelphia this week. I think the Philly offense is going to be just fine moving the ball up and down the field against Tampa.
Fred, how about you?
I think it's kind of, it could go either way. I think the running game, obviously, like you brought the stats out of the average in 5 yards per carry. I think that could also go the same way against the Bucs. I think, I think it has the potential to be a high scoring game. I do think though though high scoring, I think it is going to be a neck and neck, score for score kind of game. I think the only real advantage would be if special teams end up taking advantage of of field position early in the game and get to a point where they're at some point where they're 2 scores ahead or 2 possessions ahead. That way that gives them a little bit of a cushion to be able to then do the back and forth stuff the rest of the game. But I do think, it's probably going to be fairly neck and neck in the running game department.
I'm taking. I know this is going to surprise you guys, but I'm taking the Buccaneers in this game. I'm not taking my Eagles, and I've been saying this for a while now. The Buccaneers have the Eagles number, and I have the stat to prove it. Over the last 10 years, the Eagles are 1-6 against Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. The last win that they had against Tampa Bay was back in 2023 on September 25th, almost exactly 2 years ago, when the Eagles won 25-11. That was in the fated 23-24 season when the Eagles started 10-1 and then lost 6 games in a row. That was the only win the Eagles have had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the last 10 years.
Well, I mean, as looking at my buddy Ray here, you never say never, because some of those teams that you think, well, the record says it's never going to happen, it happens. and then you're looking at it like how in the world, or whatever, but you're happy about it. So I would say I think the Eagles are going to take this one. Not necessarily because of crazy dominance, but I think the unsure footing of Tampa Bay at this point is giving the Eagles an opportunity to actually pull things together and get a W.
While I still have that game as a coin flip, if I had to lean towards one side or the other, I'm going to lean towards Philly as well. I don't think Tampa Bay is as talented as you have them hyped up to be, Alex, but I just can't see Jalen Hurts letting this game go. I have a feeling the Eagles are going to get the ball last, and they're going to power through like they have been.
And given the fact that Ray was dead on about his Cardinals, I think.
Look. The Bucks are my version of Ray's Cardinals. Okay, the Bucks are my version of Ray's Cardinals. I just think I'm more correct than Ray is. Just putting that out there.
Well, the week is going to tell. So,
yep. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. So,
which, speaking of the Cardinals, they're down 14-3 going into half with 3 seconds left on their own 30-yard line. Why are we throwing a screen pass for the last play of the half? Just why?
All right. So to the second game.
You never know.
All right. So to the second game that I'm going to be paying attention to, and guys, I think all three of us are going to be watching this one. It's the Ravens versus the Chiefs. Both teams are 1-2. Now, talking about the Eagles being 1-6 against the Buccaneers for the last 10 years, the Ravens have had similar trouble versus the Chiefs. The Ravens are 1-6 against the Chiefs since 2015. They've just had struggles against the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson is actually 0-3 against the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. He has had struggles in Arrowhead. Week 3, Lamar Jackson had 288 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a passer rating damn near perfect, 148.1. Patrick Mahomes in Week 3, he had 224 yards, 1 touchdown, but a pretty pedestrian passer rating of 85.9. The Ravens did beat the Browns in Week 2, 41-17, but lost 41-40 and 38-30 versus the Bills and Lions. Both of those teams were playoff teams. So their only win has come against a team that didn't make the playoffs. Against quality opponents they have lost. The Chiefs won their first game versus the Giants 22-9 after a slow start last week, but their losses were against the Eagles 20-17 and the Chargers 27-21. Both teams, I think all three of us would agree, are going to be playoff teams this year. So guys, the losing team, whichever team loses, is going to fall to 1-3. And at this point in the season, that is emergency. That is all hands on deck. Like, it's about to hit the fan. Like let's figure this crap out. Just to throw some statistics, if we haven't had enough statistics out there to you guys. Anytime a losing team has fallen to 1-3 in the NFL, that has reduced their chances of reaching the playoffs to roughly 25%. Whereas if they're starting the season 2-2, it's basically a coin toss. So the last time a 1-3 team made the playoffs was back in 2018 with the Houston Texans when they finished 11-5, but they lost in the wild card rounds to the Colts 21-7. Some notable injuries here for the Ravens. Isaiah Likely, their star young tight end, he's questionable. Nnamdi Madubuike, that's a mouthful. Defensive lineman, as of right now, he is ruled out. That's a huge loss for the Baltimore Ravens. And then on the offensive line, Ronnie Stanley, as of right now, he is ruled out. And Kyle Van Noy, as of right now, an outside linebacker, he is ruled out. Now for the Chiefs, they got a lot of guys on their injury report, but everybody is a full participant in practice for the first time in a long time this season. Everybody's looking healthy. Guys, this game is full of intrigue, full of tension, full of storylines. This is a must-win game for both teams.
Ray, you take this one first.
So, I actually have this one a little more of a no-brainer than what you're making it out to me. In my opinion, I think Baltimore wins this one easily. Kansas City has been down this year bad, and I don't know what your take is on this, Fred, but quite frankly, I feel like if they would have either started Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston, the Giants would have beat Kansas City the way they played last week. I fully believe any other quarterback other than Russell Wilson, Kansas City's sitting at 0-3 right now. Kansas City does not look good. They've been struggling a lot this year. I think Baltimore is going to go in. Baltimore's offense is putting up, what'd you say, 30, 40 plus points a game. I think Baltimore is going to go in and crush Kansas City this year. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any question about it.
Okay, so since it was brought up, I have to bring it up. The mock UN Flag Day celebration, whatever you want to call it, there was more flags out on that field than I think I've seen in any political event in my life. There were so many like no-brainer kind of issues with both teams. You had Kansas City, who I'm sorry, obviously I'm not a football guy, but how is it that you have a penalty of standing in the wrong spot at the start of a play? You're not one of the guys with motion. You're just supposed to stand at the line, the same place that you always stand. No issue there. Why is it that, as the announcer said, it seems to be a running issue with this player that he can't stand on the X? I'm sorry. You're not a 5-year-old kid nervous on stage, and so you're shimmying around because you don't know what's gonna. No, you're a seasoned NFL player. You should be able to stand on the X when the coach says stand on the X. So, do I think there's a hole there? Yeah. Do I think there's some unnecessary flags that Kansas City should not have had? Absolutely, they could have been prevented. By the same token, the Giants absolutely could have done without the pass interference that, in my opinion, is what sealed the deal for their game. Without that pass interference, it was a field goal battle. And that was it. So once that momentum changed, you no longer had heads held high fighting. Cam Scattaboo, he's in his own world. That guy plays football
out of his mind.
Like he's a high school kid, and his girlfriend's in the stands, and he's trying to impress her because she said no to him for the third time. And like he is fighting his way to something. I don't know what it is, but that man has fight in him.
And Fred, we talked about this the last time we were on the pod. He reminds me so much of Ahmad Bradshaw. He really, not only because he wears the same number, it's just his running style reminds me of Ahmad Bradshaw.
Well, I mean, his running style is like a hobbit against a troll. Like he's this little guy. You watch him in any huddle. You watch him like this guy. The only reason why he's in the NFL is because he's a crazy scrapper. He doesn't care if he's going against the guy who's 7'3". He's going to run him in the shins and try and plow through him. And that the ability to have that fight, the ability to have that I won't stop no matter what. I'm going to wear you down. When I wear you down, I'm going to take advantage of that, is what makes him an excellent football player. And I don't take away anything from his performance in the game, because I really think that, Ray, you pointed out the fact that you weren't that impressed with him because of his stats, but watching closely to his game, it is absolutely not because that man doesn't work and shouldn't have those yards. It's that when he should be running for 5-6 yards, he gets stopped at the line of scrimmage because the offensive line does not know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, and really, it ends up being positioning. It ends up being that hole should have been there, and they couldn't get there. There was a lot of pressure on the QB, but it was the same way for Kansas City. So that seemed pretty even both ways. But when Russell Wilson cannot hit the receivers that are wide open, and the only decent attempts that the only attempt that he made that should have been something was throwing the ball out of the end zone. Like it doesn't make any sense to have Russell Wilson in there. And if the rumors are true, this week will be Jackson Dart's first appearance
They
for the Giants.
did just come out and
They did.
confirm that the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that'll be awesome. But bringing it back
That's
to
the
Kansas
only reason
City,
I didn't pick the Chargers as my eliminator pick of the week, because when I heard the switch quarterbacks, I was like, I don't feel comfortable picking against the Giants right now.
Right. So taking it back to Kansas City, I think that Kansas City has something that that the Vikings don't right now, and that is they have been completing passes. They have been doing that sort of, nickel and dime playing. And against a team like the Vikings, who are struggling, who have holes, I think.
You mean the Ravens?
I'm sorry, yeah, the Ravens. The fight is there. I think the only variable really, like I brought up in the beginning, is their ability to keep their penalties to a minimum. If they can not play against themselves, I think that Kansas City has the edge in that game.
Interesting. So here are my three keys of the game, guys, and I'll try to make this quick. Patrick Mahomes versus the Ravens defense. And Fred, you kind of touched on this briefly. The Ravens have only allowed 40 scramble yards and 1 touchdown when a quarterback is scrambling. However, like you mentioned, the Ravens defense is dinged up. Mm-hmm. If Patrick Mahomes is given the opportunity to run around against a dinged up Ravens defense, look out. Patrick Mahomes can just take a game over. Key to the game number 2, Lamar Jackson versus Steve Spagnuolo with the Kansas City Chiefs on a blitz. So the opposite way. However, Lamar Jackson has been very successful against a blitz. This statistic, as soon as I saw it, just blew my mind. Lamar Jackson, so far passing, 12 for 14 passing, 189 yards, and 3 touchdowns against the blitz. Lamar Jackson, when he sees the blitz, he's like, please. It's like that YouTube meme that we've been seeing of these guys that are, Ray, you probably have seen these guys that are mocking up games saying, slow down, baby. Like that's what Lamar Jackson is doing. He's saying, slow down, baby. I got you. That's what Lamar Jackson has been doing. So Steve Spagnuolo, pay attention. If you're going to blitz, Lamar Jackson's going to dice you up. And then key number 3, George Karlaftis versus the Ravens O-line. George Karlaftis has had 15 pressures on the quarterback, which is 6 more than anybody else on the Kansas City Chiefs defense, and that accounts for 32.6% of the team's pressure rate. If George Karlaftis can get pressure on Lamar Jackson and force either Lamar Jackson up or force him out, he at least gives the Kansas City Chiefs a shot.
I'm surprised one of your keys to the game wasn't Derrick Henry, the way he's been fumbling the ball this year. He's fumbled the ball every single game he's played in this year.
I thought about that. I thought about that, but the last time Derrick Henry had problems fumbling the football, he was able to right the ship. I have confidence in Derrick Henry being able to right the ship with this one.
He should be. He's always been one of the best running backs in the NFL. He should be able to get himself back on track.
I agree. Now, Ray, you said that I was saying, the Ravens are 1-6 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Jackson 0-3 at Arrowhead. I'm taking the Ravens in this one. Like you, I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs, and I could be wrong, but I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs coming out of this game with a win. I just don't.
No.
See, there's a few people that I've seen seen predictions from that have this week being the turnaround week. The turnaround week for the Ravens to go on a win streak and then make it all the way to the playoffs. I personally think that this is their, like you said before, this is their breaking point, and I think it's going to mess up a lot of people's predictions, and a lot of people's betting markets when Kansas City does beat them and ends that possibility. So I'm going with Kansas
You're going
City.
Kansas City.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So if that happens, Kansas City at least has a 50-50 chance, historically speaking, of getting to the playoffs. The Ravens, less than 25% chance. All right. So the third game I'm going to be watching, and Ray, as soon as I say this, I know what you're going to be thinking. Da, 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 da. Yes. Indiana Jones. I'm going to be paying attention to the Rams versus the Colts. The Colts, are off to a 3-0 start. This is their first time that they have had a 3-0 start in a long time. And if they win, this will be their first 4-0 start since 2009 when they advanced to Super Bowl 44, where they lost to the New Orleans Saints 31-17.
Did I bring up in our last episode the record that Daniel Jones broke? I don't know if I brought that up. Daniel Jones just broke a record. He is the first quarterback in NFL history where the first 3 games of the year, I guess it wouldn't be, the first 3 games of the year, he's throwing for 3+ touchdown passes, 3+ rushing touchdowns, no turnovers. First quarterback in Super Bowl era history to pull that off.
And that's a very interesting statistic, and that ties in well with the history that the Colts are making. And again, if they win this game against the Rams, first time they'll be going 4-0 since 2009 when the Colts got to the Super Bowl but lost to the Saints 31-17. They ended up finishing that season 14-2. And that's a huge thing to say. Like you said, Ray, this is with Daniel Jones. The Indianapolis Colts have had a history of fantastic quarterbacks, Peyton Manning being the one to come to mind. And you're thinking, holy crap, Peyton Manning didn't go 4-0? He did once, only once in his career. And we're thinking, wait a second, Danny Dimes, Peyton Manning.
Wait.
Something's not adding up here.
Peyton. The only Manning I know is Eli.
Shit. Here we
Get
go.
out of here.
Get out of here. All right, moving on.
So you also have Andrew Luck. I'm surprised Andrew Luck didn't go 4-0 with Colts too.
And Andrew Luck, and we could go back, generations. The Colts have always seemed to have good quarterbacks. Anywho, Daniel Jones in week 3, 228 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 113.4. Matt Stafford last week against the Eagles, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for a fairly pedestrian 82.4 passer rating. Again, the Rams last week blew a 19-point lead against Philadelphia and lost 33-26. And that was all done with the catalyst of 2. That's right, to say it for the 4th time, 2 blocked field goals. And again, that's the first time that's happened since 1975, whenever the Eagles did it versus the New York Giants. Guys, here's another bit of history for the Colts. First time in franchise history the Colts have done this. The Colts have scored 29 or more points in their first 3 games. First time in franchise history that they have done that. And that was with, as you said, Ray, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and a whole myriad of fantastic quarterbacks in Colts history. Guys, first, before we get to injuries, the Colts, I think I need to maybe switch. I said, and I remember, I'm on record for saying this, that the Denver Broncos were going to be the darlings of the NFL. I think it's actually going to be the Colts.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid in Indianapolis right now with Daniel Jones. That's all I'm going to say. They are coming out swinging. They are looking hot this year. Nobody's really been able to slow them down.
Do you think that this could be the beginning of the new Tom Brady?
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
Listen, you guys are talking him up like he's a machine at QB. That's what Tom Brady was.
I think you're just salty that he's doing better with the Colts than he did with the Giants.
No, I'm not salty at all. Hats off to him. He's doing awesome. Same thing with Barkley. They've found their home and they're absolutely doing awesome. My thing is he now falling into a groove where he's going to be able to not only be successful, but then be confident enough to be consistently successful no matter the variables. That's the thing that makes Tom Brady. And I'm wondering if, is this a fluke? Is this a one season wonder? Or is he actually the quarterback that the Giants saw in him but couldn't use, and that Indianapolis saw in him and are making 100% use of?
I think it's the latter. I think the Colts are making use of him, but I also think this is kind of the perfect storm, so to say, where everything's just kind of falling into place. That's not to say that it's going to be, rainbows and unicorns all season. They're gonna face some adversity this year, but I'm changing my opinion on who the darlings of the NFL is this year. I thought it was the Broncos. I'm riding with the Colts.
I think this is a case of
it's risky, but I respect it.
I think this is a case of Daniel Jones wants to go out and show people that have been doubting him that they were wrong, because he didn't pan out well with New York. And when he got to Indianapolis, if you remember correctly, Anthony Richardson was supposed to be the starter this year. Indy didn't even give him credit for starting this year. He had to earn it through the preseason. He got the non-week one when Richardson got hurt again, and he's just taking this opportunity and being like, look, I still got it. Let me prove it to you. And he's just rolling with it this year. And he is proving a lot of people wrong with what he's doing too. So
he's proving all three of us wrong. Now, to get to notable injuries anyway in this matchup, the Colts, DeForest Buckner, he's their star D tackle. He's questionable. Kenny Moore, one of their corners, he's questionable. And Xavier Howard, another corner, he's questionable. Now, for the Rams, they got banged up against the Eagles, and this could come to bite them against the Colts. Rob Havenstein, a tackle, he's questionable. Devontae Adams, he's questionable with a hamstring. He's day-to-day. Last report I heard, he could be out, but then again I heard he's day-to-day. We'll see. A hamstring you don't want to push, especially if you're a wide receiver. Braden Fisk, edge rusher, he's questionable. And Cameron Kinchin's safety is also questionable. So, guys, before I get to the keys to the game on this one, the Rams, at least with their injury report, there's a lot of variables here, especially on the defensive side, but a big notable one is Devontae Adams. If they don't have the Devontae Adams, kind of the Batman to Puka Nakua's Robin, that could create some problems on offense.
Go ahead, Fred. You can take the lead on this one.
No. By all means.
I'm torn between how great the Rams have looked this season compared to what we're seeing out of Indianapolis, because like Fred said, I think they're doing great in Indy right now, but how much of that is luck or a fluke right now compared to, is that really how Indy's going to look all year long? It's going to be, can they keep doing it, or is the juice going to run out? Part of me wants to keep riding on the Colts gravy train, but the strength of the Rams, I don't know. If I had to lean back, this is another one where I'd be torn back and forth between. I'd have to go with Indianapolis on this one just because they have all the momentum in the world. until they lose that momentum, I think they're going to be a tough train to stop.
Fred?
See, I'm not as bearish on this one. I think that Indiana Jones is a lot more solid than what he's being given credit for, and that just like Barkley, he wasn't a fluke. After a couple of games, he held out and was the shining star through. That kind of led the Eagles to their Super Bowl. So I think Danny Jones might be the missing piece that continues this gravy train and keeps Indianapolis rolling. And just to reiterate a point that Ray made in the past, being apprehensive about a team's momentum and how long can it possibly last. It took his Brewers to the number one seed in their division, which is what I called in the beginning of the season. So
I have my doubts.
Yeah, he was doubtful. I was confident because that kind of momentum and that kind of team fluidity, I'll call it. It's transcendent of any sport. You have the same thing that happened with the Miracle on Ice, or the Dream Team. You have guys that just mesh together and play well, and some people might call it a fluke or the perfect storm, but when it happens, you see it, and you kind of sit back in awe of it. I think that's definitely possible for what's happening with the Colts right now. And I think Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, former Giant, whatever you want to call him, I think he's the spearhead that's leading that charge.
I would agree, and he's part of my keys to the game. So key number one, Daniel Jones versus the Rams secondary. The Rams allowed 26 unanswered points to the Eagles in the second half. Their secondary looked atrocious in the second half. Do the Colts have the same caliber of wide receivers that the Eagles do? No, not necessarily. But if I would say, especially if Cameron Kinchins is out, that's an advantage to the Colts. Key number two, and we didn't touch on this yet, but I think this is part of the catalyst and part of the reason why Daniel Jones is having such a successful year. Rams run defense versus the Jonathan Taylor experience. The Rams only allowed 46 yards. Former Badger. The Rams only allowed 46 yards to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was bottled up. Jonathan Taylor, 102 yards and a hat trick for touchdowns. The man just produces. I think if Jonathan Taylor can get going in the running game, that opens up the play action, that opens up the middle to deep passing options for Daniel Jones. I think if Jonathan Taylor can get going, that helps Daniel Jones in the passing game. And then again, I know I've been banging the drum this episode on special teams, but again, special teams is key number three. The Rams allowed 2 blocked field goals. If I'm the Colts, I'm paying attention. I'm watching film, and I'm saying, who can I? Obviously, I don't have a Jordan. Oh my gosh, I just blanked. Jordan Davis, thank you, memory. Jordan Davis and a Jalen Carter. I don't have those guys, but who do I have that's close enough that I can line up in the A gap and get pressure on the kicker? I'm paying attention to the film on special teams because that could be an advantage.
I would say that there's, like I said in the beginning, the special teams have definitely proven their worth so far this season. And, this might be in the era of, featherweight bubble wrap football. This could be an answer to that, where, the intensity is not to the goal line, the intensity is to the 40-yard line, or the intensity is to the 30-yard line. If teams can do that well, and they're confident in their special teams to be able to make it happen, that's an advantage. That absolutely is. So I agree with you. The special teams are a huge factor this season, and if they can put numbers on the board, then by all means do it.
What I'm enjoying the most this year is the resurgence of the running back position, because for a couple seasons now, it seemed like the running back was starting to become a dying position. It was all quarterbacks and receivers. And now it seems like the running backs are starting to take their place back in the NFL again. Jonathan Taylor's helping the Colts, like you had brought up. Look at what Saquon Barkley's been doing with the Eagles. It's just nice to see in the running back position finally coming back alive again and actually being brought up more than just all quarterbacks and receivers again, like it has been previous seasons.
Right. I agree. It's almost like kind of watching the NFL we grew up watching. You had those bruising running backs, the Mike Allstotts of the world, the Ahmad Bradshaws, the Adrian Petersons. You had CJ2K. Those guys. We're starting to see. Jerome Bettis. We're starting to, we're starting. For me as an Eagles fan, Brian Westbrook. Yeah. We're starting to see those guys starting to reemerge in the NFL, and it's not just an air it out NFL anymore. I think we're kind of reinventing ourselves by going back to the past. And as an NFL fan, I think that's fun to watch.
I love when you bring up the Bettis, because it brings up a stat line in my memory every single time that I laugh at. 3 carries for 1 yard and 2 touchdowns. I don't think anybody will ever have a better stat line than that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. All right. So that is my top 3 games that I'll be paying attention to. Now, all of us, we have been doing an eliminator challenge. I have been eliminated, and Fred has been eliminated. The only one left standing is Ray, and one of our faithful subscribers, Eric. Guys, I did not expect to get eliminated this quick. Fred, I don't think you would expect to get eliminated this quick. But if you're watching and you want to jump in, please, by all means, drop a comment below. Let us know who you are picking. Ray, what are 5 games are part of our eliminator challenge this week?
You mean just like the 5 games we're picking, or the eliminator challenge? Because they're 2 different things.
Yeah, let's just go all of it. Let's do both.
I think let's do both. Okay. The 5 games we have this week are, I'm unfortunately watching one of them right now and being extremely disappointed with what I'm watching.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are currently up 17-3 over the Cardinals. Then we have Sunday morning, the Vikings take on the Steelers in, is it Ireland? I know it's overseas. I forget where it's
in Ireland.
In Ireland. And then Sunday night, we have the Green Bay Packers heading down to Dallas, take on the Cowboys. And then I'm trying to remember the Monday night games off the top of my head here. I believe the Jets play the Dolphins in Miami.
Yes.
And correct me on the last one here. Who is the last one?
The last one is Bengals versus Broncos.
The Bengals against the Broncos. Okay. And then for my eliminator pick of the week, like I said earlier in the episode here, I was going to take the Chargers. I had a theme going. All teams that start with C. I don't know if you noticed that or not. I didn't notice that trend until I looked on it today. I got a chuckle out of that. But whenever they announced Jackson Dart was starting for the Giants, it made me go from the Chargers were going to win this one to I'm not sure how comfortable I am picking either team in that one. Right. And even with what I looked at, I'm going with a dicier pick. I'm picking the 0-3 Houston Texans this week as my eliminator pick of the week. They're playing the 0-3 Titans, and I feel like Houston has to come back at some point. I don't think they're as bad of a team as their record is. I'm hoping this is the week that Houston bounces back. That's my eliminator pick of the week, the Houston Texans over the Tennessee Titans.
And that's one heck of a pick, because if you guys haven't been paying attention, the Houston Texans released C.J. Gardner-Johnson 3 weeks into the season after trading for him with the Philadelphia Eagles. A huge piece of news for me, not just as an Eagles fan, but also as a fan of CJ Gardner-Johnson. We'll see how that plays out. Who knows? But if you are interested in trying to beat us in the Eliminator Challenge, drop a comment. Let us know your Eliminator pick. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have,
and just to reiterate that when the current Eliminator Challenge is over, we're just going to restart. So you can hop in whenever, leave a comment, let us know, and we'll get you hooked up with our Discord and get you involved with our Eliminator Challenge.
Yeah, right now Eric and I are the last two, and believe it or not, Eric also picked Houston this week, so we're both in ride or die together. So it's either we both advance or we're both done.
Right,
so.
right. That's awesome.
Well, if you are going to play along with us, maybe you can outlast Ray and Eric. Yeah, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be picking the Texans right now, but that's just me. All right. Now to the sport that I don't know very well. It's baseball, the MLB. We are in the hunt to Red October. We're getting into the playoffs. Guys, how do we shape up?
Ray?
There's a game that I was keeping track on. I was going to look into tonight and keep track on. I didn't get a chance to look at the update. Fred, if you could look at it. The Phillies are playing tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they not? They're playing the Marlins tonight.
Yes.
What is the score of that game, or haven't they started yet?
Well, currently, the middle of the ninth, the Mets are against the Cubs, and the Mets are winning 8-5. That's
not as worried about that one as much as I am the Phillies yet, though.
I know.
The reason being is because something that I said a while ago that I didn't think was going to happen is that the Brewers, if the Phillies lose tonight, clinch the number one team in baseball. I didn't think it was going to be possible. I thought the Brewers were going to collapse, but with one Brewers win or a Phillies loss, the Brewers claim the best record in the regular season in baseball. So I'm very interested to see how that happens. I still, as a Wisconsin faithful fan, I'm still expecting the choke job come playoff time because it's a Wisconsin tradition to choke whenever it actually comes down to it.
Well,
but
actually,
I'm enjoying how great
Ray, you're mistaken. The Brewers are at 96 wins. The Phillies are only at 94.
Yeah, but the Phillies have 4 games left. The Brewers have 3. So
right, so they would still have to though win 2 in order to gain that.
I think we have the tiebreaker over the Phillies, which is what they were looking at.
Gotcha.
So it's just that one game that we need. So,
well, the Phillies won 1-0 against the Marlins.
So the Brewers still need that one win, and we got it.
And the Tigers won against the Guardians. The Yankees won 5-3, go Yanks, against the White Sox. The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 6-1. And the Mets are currently leading the Cubs 8-5.
Can we talk about how big of a collapse Detroit was right now? Detroit, back in July, had a 14-game lead over the Royals and the Twins, and then, not to mention, a 15.5-game lead over the Guardians. And right now, they're not even winning their division. What in the world is going on in Detroit right now?
Honestly, Detroit has one guy.
And he lost the other night, too, to the Guardians.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true, but Skubal or Skubal, whatever you want to call him, he's a dominant pitcher, absolutely dominant. But there's other guys that have to spend time on the mound. So what ends up happening is you have these streaks. Same thing with the Pirates. You can have 5 shutdown innings, and then all of a sudden the whole world explodes. That happened the other night with Detroit, or I'm sorry, with Toronto. Toronto absolutely got crushed the other night. Let me pull it up here. Toronto lost. Oh, where is it now? Was it 20?
Hey, the Cardinals just got a field goal. We're 3 points closer to what we were. But anyway.
Nice.
Ray, I think your feed is a little bit ahead of mine.
Probably.
Okay.
They just kicked like a 50-some
Here
yard
we
field
are.
goal.
Here we are. The Kansas City Royals on the 19th, last Friday, beat the Blue Jays 20-1.
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
That inning was unbelievable. It was a first inning complete blowout of 7 runs to 1. Then the third inning, they got another 3. Then they were both not producing anything in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then the 7th inning, they exploded again. Kansas City took another 4 runs. Then in the 8th inning, another 8 runs or another 6 runs. And obviously ended up with 20 runs off 27 hits.
That's insane.
Runs off of 27 hits. That's an insane ball game. That's like football scores. But when you put in perspective, they were playing against the Blue Jays, who have obviously been a playoff team the entire season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So they've had such a big lead that it is insane. So to get crushed like that by the Royals, there's obviously ebb and flow. There's the any given Sunday mentality. But when you figure right now, you got, as I said, if we remember back a few weeks ago when I got kind of heckled about the Red Sox, and I was told that the Red Sox were going to be ahead of the Yankees, and
which they did for a little bit.
I said not for long. I said the Yankees will come back, and I said the Yankees would close the gap with the Blue Jays, which they absolutely did. They are
sure
tied
did.
right now, 91 wins, 68 losses.
And Yankees have the tiebreaker, correct or not?
I believe so.
So the Yankees would win the division then, yeah.
So right now, let me pull this up. Give me just a second, but the way that the Yankees have been playing, and given all of the not only home runs but records that have been happening across the entire MLB, it's been so impressive. Your Brewers unleashing, and still, while you say, they have some bad days, they're a solid team.
They have been all year. I will give it that, yeah. I just, as like I said, a Wisconsin faithful, I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop because we, for some odd reason, can never close it out no matter how good of a regular season we have.
Right. And see, that's something that if you look at where we are right now, I think there's a lot to be said for, let's see if I can pull this up here. Let's do a moment of screen share. All right, so can you see that right now?
Yes.
Okay. So right now we are looking at the MLB postseason. The Seattle Seahawks have obviously clinched their spot. They came out of nowhere.
The Seattle Seahawks or the Seattle Mariners?
I'm sorry. Seattle
I had no
Mariners.
idea the football team could
I'm
be in
thinking about
the MLB
I'm thinking
postseason.
about how the
Holy moly!
Seahawks are winning, and it's
Maybe
just
I'll even pay attention.
it's filling me with so much joy that the teams are blending. Now
But if you remember correctly, I say though that I had faith in Seattle winning that division over Houston, and Houston did collapse.
yes, you're right. You're right. You did call that. Cal Riley has now he is in the elite group of home run hitters.
Didn't he just hit 60 last night in a
Yes.
multi-home run game?
Yes. So he is now in the group with Sammy Sosa. He's in the group with all the great home run hitters of the 2000s. And not only is he unbelievably, holding that seat, but he also has helped get his team where they are right now. So it is not anything to discredit or discount. His team has absolutely been amazing. Then you also have, or he's the 7th player in history to hit 60 homers in multiple seasons. Then you have Skeens from the Pirates. Now, obviously, they're not making the playoffs this year. But you remember what I said about him being a marketable player?
Yeah.
He has become not only the player to market, but he has become the guy that the Yankees actually had their eyes set on and had reps talk to them before they did the major deal that they ended up doing, just to kind of test the waters.
Didn't he just break the record too? First pitcher in MLB history to have so many strikeouts in a season. I forget what the number was, but either way, have a sub-2 ERA, which he finished with a 1.94 or 1.96, and still have a losing record.
Yep.
I thought so, yeah.
6 shutouts, or 6 shutouts for his last game pitching, I should say.
Yeah.
He ended the season with a 1.97 ERA.
1.97, okay.
And he's
a losing record. That blows my mind. If you're throwing a 1.97 with a losing record, that's terrible offense on the team you're playing for. Absolutely terrible.
Absolutely. There's nothing that should ever bring that about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Excuse me. Ohtani just hit his 54th home run.
That blows my mind too.
Hey, the Dodgers are nothing to shake a stick at this point right now. I think the Mets Dodgers.
That's a gamble to bet on the Dodgers, right?
Yeah. I honestly, I'm pulling for the Mets. I would love to see a Mets Phillies NLDS. That would be amazing to me.
That's if the Mets can continue to play strongly, because they've been going through a collapse as well.
And right. And really it's going to come down to their pitching.
Yeah.
So if they can produce and their pitching is strong, I think they have a chance. Also, who do you think is going to take the edge against your Brewers, San Diego or the Cubs?
I mean, I was riding on the Padre gravy train for a while too. I was skeptical, but I was hopeful that they would actually take the division, which granted they fell apart and they didn't get the division like I predicted them, or I can't say predicted, but hoping them to get, I should say. But I I hate to say it, but I might have to go Chicago. Chicago
Really?
has been one of those teams that have been right up the Brewers' rear end all year long, competing for the top, not only top in the division, but top in the NL. The Cubs
Yeah,
have been there all year.
89 wins is nothing to shake a stick at.
Exactly, yeah.
Which
So I
is
think it's going to.
That's a much better record than the Mets anyway.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to come down to the Cubs and Brewers, and it's going to be whoever ends up fighting it out for the division again, if you will.
Now, in the last 10, the Cubs have went 5 for 5, while the Padres have gone 6 and 4, which still isn't that significantly different to make it a deal breaker. They're both
already clinched. Am I correct in that, or is it just the Cubs that are clinched?
No, they're both clinched. That's
what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's what the Mets. I think the Reds are still in it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who else is contending with those two, or is it just those two?
No, the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees are still.
No, I meant for the NL, not the AL. I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I think
it's the Mets and the Reds, and I forget who else, if the Reds are even there too. I know the Mets are competing with somebody right now.
Yeah. Well, I think. Let me double check here. I think that is.
Because I can't think of another team that's really standing out in the NL, unless I'm just completely overlooking somebody and forget them.
Well, see, this isn't anyone else's picks. This is the MLB's post for who's playing. So let
me look at the standings here on my end real quick. I don't know if it cut my screen out or if you can still see me here. So
we're all cut out.
It's okay. It's the D-backs, the Reds, and the Mets
that are all neck and neck.
Yes, the D-backs are 80 and 79, the Reds are 81 and 78, and the Mets are 82 and 77. So they're still all very much neck and neck in that race right there too. So it could go down between either of those three teams.
Right.
I don't think the D-backs are going to make it. I think it's going to come down to whether the Mets collapse enough for the Reds to get in, or if the Mets can pull off the last couple wins to clinch their spot.
Yeah.
So the Mets hold their own destiny at this point.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that are, never mind. Wait. It's a flag.
Oh, you're going to rub it in? He's going to rub it in how the Seahawks are about to score again.
Never mind. Flag. For those of you that get that reference.
I sure do.
Well, yeah, so the other thing I wanted to highlight with the MLB is we touched on it a little bit before, was this year has been a record year. Just records over records over records. You have Judge and Riley are the obvious choices for MVP this year. I'm wondering what your take is, and then I'll give mine on who you think the regular season MVP should be between those two.
I think ultimately I'm going to give it to Raleigh. He's had an exceptional year as the first catcher to get this far in home runs, let alone where the Mariners are at being the number 2 team. And I think he is what carried the Seattle to where they're at right now with the postseason chance they have, which would give him the edge. While granted, I think Judge did play a big part in the Yankees, where they're at as well. But I think just playing a full season gives Raleigh the edge over me. I know Judge was injured. I know Judge is very valuable to the Yankees, but I think Raleigh is just as valuable to the Mariners the way they've been playing as well.
Well, I mean, the home runs the Judge has hit throughout the season, he's hit for the last however many seasons, and he will always hit that many. Like,
Yeah.
I see Judge as being the amazing player that Judge is. But when you look at most valuable, yes, when Judge was out of the lineup, they had to scramble. They had to figure out what was going to happen in order to fill that gap. But it also wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
They missed some runs, they missed some RBIs, but there was still production happening with the team that wasn't just based on that position. Where you take Cal Riley and his performance has, in my opinion, like you said, has made Seattle this year. And
Yeah, without a doubt.
the matchups that should have been close games or should have gone the other way, obviously you see, like we saw earlier, they were third in their division and then just absolutely skyrocketed to the top. So you take a team that didn't have a chance, and now they're not only clinching their division title, but also with so much momentum. And I think Cal Riley is the man to get credit for that. So yeah, I would agree with you. I would go with
Yeah.
Cal Riley for MVP this year.
That he's, like I said, the performance he's had this year, and I look at it MVP as what brings value to your team as well as like the stats. And like you said, he has brought way more value to the Mariners this year, and I think a lot of other players have brought to their team. So
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well,
welcome back, Alex.
Not that I wasn't paying attention, because I was. As I say all the time, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't talk. And when it comes to baseball, I don't talk.
See, and it is 20-6.
So for those of you that are paying attention to the Seahawks and the Cardinals, yes, the Seahawks are up 20-6. Ray, he's looking like he's eating some crow.
Well, wait. Well, what happened this past week? Let's see some of that fourth quarter magic come back here with Arizona.
Anything can happen.
Fingers crossed.
Anything can happen.
Before we do end an episode, though, we got somebody that needs to come on and air a commercial for us, if I remember correctly.
That is right. We have a special sponsor that hasn't been on the pod lately. I wonder who that could be.
What's weird is we haven't had a pod lately. So I think we can definitely make some things happen to where, we can do a little ad break.
Okay.
So, given the fact that our ads have been, everything but incredible here, I gotta say, the joy that I have for my Uncle Ufo, I don't think has translated to you guys yet. The excitement, the amazing entrepreneurship, and his willingness to be a sponsor for this show. No other show gets to peddle his fare.
No, this is true. This is a Frozen Takes exclusive.
Exactly. And for all of you out there, getting your hands on this product is not going to happen by going to your local 7-Eleven. It's not. You walk into Wine and Spirits and you say, excuse me, but do you know Uncle Ufo? They're going to look at you like you're from another planet. But if you say, hey, you know those guys from Frozen Takes? They have this product that you really need to put on your shelves. Listen, One taste
is all it takes.
is all it takes. So, without any further ado, let's take a moment and see what Uncle UFO has to offer.
Uncle UFO's Old Grey Whiskey. Now that's a name that tickles the tongue. A stellar ale, brewed for those who dare to dream and drink. This ain't your average hooch. It's got a kick like a mule and a flavor that'll make you howl. Pour it in a glass and watch it shimmer like the night sky. Who knew whiskey could be so pretty? But hold on, does it taste as good as it looks? One sip, and I'm ready to launch into orbit. It's smooth, with a hint of mischief so you can embrace your natural instincts, like a man. So if you're looking for a drink to help you embrace the rugged and experience the impossible, Uncle UFO's got your back. Grab a bottle of Uncle UFO's Old Grey Whiskey, and let's toast to the cosmos.
Fred, I think you got yourself muted there, buddy.
And with that being said, thank you, Uncle UFO. Let's have a toast to the cosmos. And thank you guys. It's been a fun episode. And to all you watching, it is amazing for us to be able to do this, but we want you to be able to engage. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Join our Discord. Be a part of the conversation. Be a part of the picks. And let's see who gets the bragging rights over Ray. Let's see who gets to rub in the fact that, yes,
The Cardinals are. It's starting.
Ray
It's starting.
Billy.
Big run by Murray. It's starting.
Just calm down. Calm down.
Let's be able to have you guys join in the conversation and cheer on the Elksies. Everyone should be able to be a part of the amazing life that we're able to engage in our Discord. So, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And we love doing it. We love seeing you. And we hope to see you again soon.
Yep.
So, guys.
Till next time, I'm Alex.
I'm that guy.
And I'm that other guy.
See what this guy makes me do? See what this guy makes me do?
Well, I mean, that was a gang move.
Oh, my God. I'm Alex. He's Ray. He's Fred. Signing off. Till next time.
And
Other way.
Stay cold out there. Oh, look, it's Vogue.
So we're going to let our body groove to the music?
We're going to go with the flow.
Do y'all see what I got to deal with? Do y'all see this?
Wait.
Till next time, like, comment, subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, I won't have to deal with Gen Z BS. Who knows?
What are you talking about? I thought this episode went pretty Gucci, man.
It is Gucci, man.
Oh, just make it stop.
It's all Gucci, man.
For real, no cap.
Just make it stop.
I think he's trying to rizz us up, Fred.
Just make it stop. Make it stop. Just make it stop.
But Alex is just so Ohio.
I don't even know. Oh, geez. And this is where the pod just devolves into nonsense.
It does. It does. It's nonsense. It's like...
You mean how, like, the Cardinals are about to score a touchdown? Like I said, that fourth quarter magic's going to come back?
No, go away.
Listen.
Go away.
You remember the magic that was in the big red shoes from the weird guy that your parents made you sit on his lap as a kid?
Yeah, it all ran out.
Adult, you're like, wait a minute. Why did I sit on that porcelain dude with the crazy hair and the red lips? And I was super excited about it as a kid. And now I'm no longer playing with the balls in the play place. And that's not even the ones in the pit. So
wait, you guys had a play place?
It's great. Listen, I'm old enough to have climbed inside of Hamburglar, so I don't want to hear it. Okay. I dated myself. Yes, I did. But I climbed inside of Hamburglar and I would eat my cheeseburgers in there. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Google it.
sounds really
Google it.
sad.
Google it.
Like, really
that was when
sad.
playgrounds, they weren't made out of plastic and having safety edges. Hamburglar was solid metal. And that all of the welds were like rusted. Like there was a few of the bars that were questionably suspect as to whether or not they were even going to stay there. And you got to climb up inside this tube.
Let's go! Comeback is happening.
What's the score?
It is now 20-12. Touchdown pass. Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr., baby.
Just
Told
make
you,
it stop.
fourth quarter magic. Fourth quarter magic. It's going to happen.
See what I have to deal with?
Yeah.
Do you all see what I have to deal with? I'm just waiting for it all to stop. I'm just waiting for it all to stop.
I agree. I can't handle these shenanigans much anymore.
Why? Just because the Cardinals scored, we gotta call it quits now?
The Cardinals are skibbity toilet.
The other one that's going around is somebody explain that 67 thing to me.
Whoa. Not here, Ray.
Okay, my bad.
Why don't you go out in the hall? We don't start that in here.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is not the place nor the time.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to watch the Cardinals come back and win then. And then I'll make a video about how the Cardinals are still going to take the West.
And I'll make a response video about how Seattle won and how amazing they are. And then we'll see who's right. We'll see who has to take down what video, Ray. Because one of us will be a liar and one of us will be very correct. As predicted.
I will wait till the end of the game to make any video if I do. So
wait. I'm willing to make a video now and post it. And then the loser has to take theirs down, Ray. The shame. The disappointment. The laughter. Or we can both leave ours up and encourage all of you watching to comment and ridicule Ray about how absolutely wrong he is about his, the Cardinals take it in their magical fourth quarter. The whole team wearing big red shoes, flippity flop into the end zone. Nah.
And with that, we're officially signing off.
Yep, we're out of here. Have a good night, everyone.
Catch y'all later.
Stay frosty out there.